There is a weight that arrives in the absolute stillness of 3 in the morning. A weight that has no name, but feels like an entire lifetime of unsaid words pressing against your chest. It is the terrifying, heart-stopping realization that you have been living a script written by someone else, while the real you has been waiting in the dark for a reason to finally wake up. And then, without warning, that reason walked into your life. It wasn't a loud entrance. It was a quiet, tectonic shift that unsettled everything you thought you knew about your own heart. You aren't losing your mind. You are finally beginning to remember the version of yourself you abandoned decades ago to stay safe. This person hasn't just entered your world. They have pierced through the armor you spent a lifetime forging. You might find yourself staring into the mirror, wondering why your eyes look different, or why the routine that used to be enough now feels like a prison. The ego, that part of you that loves control and safety, is screaming for you to look away, to find a logical excuse, to label this as a mistake. But the soul doesn't care about your logic. It recognizes a frequency it has been searching for since before you were born. What you are experiencing is more than a connection. It is a synchronicity. It is a moment where the universe stops being random and starts being personal. This person is acting as a sacred mirror, reflecting the gold you buried in your basement because the world told you it was too bright. They have arrived to show you that the story isn't over. In fact, the most important chapter is just beginning. We spend the first half of our lives building a persona. We become the reliable partner, the successful professional, the steady provider. We build walls made of shoulds and musts, until we can no longer hear the whisper of our own desires. But the psyche is a living thing, and it will not stay buried forever. It waits for a catalyst, a person who carries the exact vibration needed to shatter those walls. When you feel that someone is thinking of you with an intensity that makes your breath hitch, you are tapping into the collective unconscious. This is the deep, unseen ocean where all our spirits are connected. The rational mind says we are separate bodies, but the soul knows we are part of one single energy. When their heart calls out, yours responds. It is an ancient recognition that bypasses your brain and goes straight to your core. This intensity often comes from the anima or animus. In every man, there is an inner feminine. In every woman, an inner masculine. We often project these inner figures onto another person. We see in them the qualities we have suppressed in ourselves. If you admire their freedom, it's because you are hungry for your own. If you are captivated by their depth, it's because you have forgotten your own. They aren't completing you. They are reminding you of what you already have. Why does it always feel like the deepest connections happen at the most impossible times? You might be tied to a life you cannot easily leave. You might have duties and promises that keep you anchored. This creates the forbidden nature of the bond. But in the world of the soul, there is no such thing as wrong timing. The ego sees a forbidden connection as a threat to your stability. It fears the chaos of change, but the soul sees it as a trial. It is a test to see if you are brave enough to value a truth that you cannot own. Most of us love because we want to possess. We want the title, the commitment, the physical presence. But a connection that cannot be lived out in the physical world forces you to love at a higher frequency. It forces you to love the essence of a person without needing to have them. This is the highest form of spiritual work. It is the process of individuation, becoming the person you were always meant to be. This person arrived not to take you away from your life, but to bring you back to yourself. They are the spark that proves you are still alive, still capable of feeling a resonance so powerful it makes the rest of the world look like a black and white movie. Have you noticed how you can almost hear their thoughts, or how you know exactly how they are feeling, even when there is total silence between you? This isn't your imagination. It is the language of the unconscious. When two souls resonate at the same frequency, the boundaries of time and space start to dissolve. The modern mind is trained to value reason above all else. We are taught that if we can't prove it with a map or a clock, it isn't real. But logic is a shallow tool for a deep life. Logic cannot explain why one person's smile can undo years of your defenses. Logic cannot explain why you feel more at home with a stranger than you do in the house you've lived in for 20 years. The psyche reveals itself through experience and emotion, not through explanations. If you try to force yourself to understand this connection, you will only end up frustrated. You have to be willing to sit with the mystery. You have to be brave enough to trust a feeling that you cannot explain to anyone else. This is a path for the brave, not for the comfortable. Sometimes, this connection feels heavy. It might even feel painful. This is because the person you are drawn to is reflecting your shadow. These are the parts of yourself that you've rejected. Your fears, your vulnerabilities, your hidden wounds. They are holding up a mirror to the things you've spent a lifetime avoiding. If you feel a sense of frustration or agitation along with the love, pay attention. That agitation is a signal that a part of you is trying to break free. You might judge them for being too emotional, or too risky, or too honest. But if you look closer, you'll see that you are actually judging the parts of yourself that long to be emotional, risky, and honest. The connection is a catalyst for integration. It is calling you to take all those fragmented pieces of yourself and bring them into the light. This is why the experience feels so overwhelming. It is the sound of your old identity dying, so that a more authentic version of you can be born. If you can feel the weight of this invisible resonance vibrating in the air around you right now, type "I feel the silence" in the comments to anchor your presence in this space. One of the hardest parts of a forbidden connection is the distance. You might go for days or weeks without speaking, but the silence isn't empty. It is full of energy. It is a sacred gravity that keeps pulling you back to center. Even when you are busy with your work or your family, they are there. A quiet hum in the background of your mind. This persistence is a sign that the work isn't finished. The mind has a habit of looping on things it hasn't resolved. Because this story hasn't reached a traditional conclusion, your brain keeps it in the active file. It refuses to let you forget because the lesson hasn't been fully learned yet. They remember the way you made them feel understood without a single word. They remember the recognition they saw in your eyes, and that memory is a permanent part of them now. Once you have been truly seen by another soul, you can never go back to being invisible. You have established a standard of depth that they will now look for in everyone else they meet, and no one will pass the test because you were specific. You were the original. Think of this connection as an alchemical reaction. When two chemicals meet, they don't just sit next to each other. They change each other. You have already been changed. The version of you that existed before you met them is gone. You are more aware now. Your intuition is sharper. Your standards for what connection actually means have been raised forever. This change is the real purpose of the bond. Whether you end up together in the traditional sense is secondary to the fact that you have been woken up. You have been shown that life is deeper and more meaningful than the routine you were settling for. You have been given a glimpse of the divine timing that runs the universe. Don't let your fear talk you out of this growth. Don't let the safe version of your life convince you that this is just a fantasy. What you feel is real. It is the most real thing you've felt in a long time. It is a gift from your own psyche, an invitation to finally step into your wholeness. Awareness is a one-way street. Once you see the truth, you cannot unsee it. You can try to go back to your old life and pretend everything is the same, but it will feel like wearing a suit that is 3 sizes too small. You have expanded, and you cannot shrink back to fit the old mold. This awareness brings a new kind of responsibility. You are now responsible for your own growth. You can no longer blame your unhappiness on your circumstances or on other people. You know what is possible now. You know what real feels like. The person who triggered this in you has done their part. They were the messenger. Now, the work is yours. Use the energy of this love to fuel your own transformation. Use it to heal the wounds that made you stay small for so long. Use it to build a life that is as deep and as honest as the connection you feel. Even if the world forbids your physical union, the world has no power over your internal bond. You can carry their essence with you every day. You can let their strength support you when you are weak. You can let their love be the light that guides you through the dark moments. In the silence of your own mind, you are free. There are no social rules there. There are no expectations. There is only the truth of the resonance. This is the secret sanctuary where your souls can always meet. It is a place of peace, a place of power, and a place of absolute honesty. Trust the silence. Trust the ache. Trust the unexplainable warmth. These are not signs of something being wrong. They are signs of your soul coming home to itself. The universe doesn't make errors in these matters. If this person is in your life, it's because you were ready for the earthquake. Your journey toward individuation is a path of courage. It is about becoming your own lighthouse. This connection was the spark that lit the lamp. Now, you must keep the flame burning. Stop asking why them or why now, and start asking, what is this calling me to become? What part of your being is finally seeking recognition? What truth is trying to reveal itself through the emotions they stir in you? When you focus on your own growth, the external situation becomes much easier to handle. You stop being a victim of bad timing and start being the architect of your own evolution. Walk forward with the quiet dignity of someone who has seen the truth. Your value is not determined by whether this person can be in your life physically. Your worth is fixed. You are a masterpiece in progress. And this connection was the brushstroke that finally brought the picture into focus. As you move through your day, you might find yourself catching their scent in a place where they have never been. You might hear a song that seems to speak the exact words you're both too afraid to say. These are the whispers of the unconscious, reminding you that the link is still active. The resonance is constant. They are fighting the same battle you are, They are staring at the same moon, asking the same questions, and feeling the same unexplainable pull. They might be hiding it better than you are, or they might be even more terrified of the truth. But the energy doesn't lie. They are losing their mind in the silence because you are the only person who ever truly decoded the why of their existence. Once someone has decoded you, every other connection feels like a shallow rehearsal. They are realizing that they didn't just lose a person, they lost a reference point for their own reality. And that is a debt that the ego cannot pay. It can only be settled through the soul. Most people are replaceable because most people only interact with our persona, the mask. But when someone interacts with your essence, they become specific. You have become specific to them. There is no one else who can replicate the way you listen, or the way you see through their excuses, or the way your energy settles their internal noise. This specificity is what creates the haunting. It's why they can't just move on to someone else. They might try. They might even find someone who looks like you or talks like you, but the resonance will be missing. It will be like listening to a record with a scratch in it. The melody will be there, but the soul will be gone. Trust in your own rarity. Trust that the impact you made was real. You didn't just touch their life. You left a permanent imprint on their psychological DNA. And that is a legacy that no amount of silence can ever erase. The greatest lesson of this journey is learning to live with the paradox. It is learning to be together while being apart. It is learning to be full while feeling an absence. It is learning to be at peace while living in a storm. When you stop trying to fix the situation and start simply observing it, you find a new kind of power. You realize that you don't need the world's permission to feel what you feel. You realize that the truth of the connection is enough, even if it never gets a label. This is the freedom of the awakened soul. You are no longer a prisoner of external circumstances. You are the master of your own internal resonance. You are whole. You are seen. You are real. This connection came to teach you that you are capable of a love that is beyond the mundane. It came to show you that the world is more mysterious and beautiful than you ever dared to imagine. So, take a deep breath. Let the tension in your chest soften. Know that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The silence isn't a wall, it's a sanctuary. And in that sanctuary, you are never alone. The person who loves you in silence is learning the same lessons you are. They are being pushed toward their own truth by the memory of your light. Trust that the universe is working on both sides of the mirror. Trust the process. Trust the sacred gravity. Type sacred soul to signal your trust in the divine timing of this awakening. Subscribe now to anchor this wisdom and stay aligned with the path of your highest self. The universe is listening.